Alrighty, daily trading recap for this Friday. It is the 12th of November, 2021. A little day in the red, but just really nothing to fret or worry about. Just closing off the week. Continuing to press harder and harder on identifying specific criteria that I'm looking for on the short side. We had a close one that I was getting a little bit pumped and had to cool myself off a little bit with CYTO. That's looking for a potential short on this one, letting the morning volatility do whatever it wants to do, and then looking to just play off of that morning hype into the lunch session as a downside trade. But we'll get to that breakdown in a little bit. But no other really trades. Had a little one on FCEL that we'll mention, but yeah, nothing hard. Pretty abysmal Friday. Just dollar volume quickly for SPY, really nice day as well, 0.75% in the green. I'm super far after the close here now, almost 4 hours after on a Friday. $226 billion volume for the NASDAQ. NYSE, $242 billion volume. OTC markets, $2.3 billion. Pretty insanely low to see that. Sad to see, especially in these winter months, which should be heating up this market again of November, but we'll take what the market's given as of right now. Getting to the first trade on FCEL, which was the first one on the day. I was interested in this one because of the EV sector kind of moving. We had Tesla's still holding, but it's not really leading this entire pack of the EV sector plays. LCID was kind of holding well in this pre-market. Holding well and decently, continuing in this green uptrend. RIVN, same thing, moving some nice numbers there. EVgo, did I just mention that one? Yeah, EVgo, same thing. That's just kind of pushing some nice EV sector, having some momentum. It's certainly the most hot sector at the moment. So FCEL caught my attention just for where it was at, the former runnerness of it, how it was trading pre-market, and it was just so funny that this one traded pretty much exactly like Sava was trading yesterday for Mad Monaco. Similar price volatility. Sava was more of a first green day catalyst type of play, where this one was more of the breakout style of trade, but still followed the same parameters and guidelines of how it was holding, what we were looking for in general as the trade, but following along the same lines of, okay, we get a little dip out of the open. I actually tried one attempt that I thought we were bouncing within that first minute candle. I got stopped out as it was breaking to a new low, 11.14 to 11.08. I said, shoot, screw it. Super small smiles on this one anyway. I wasn't so incredibly convicted on this trade, but very fun experiment on this one that it was pretty much kind of a mirror copy to what I felt Sava was, or what Monaco was looking for Sava to do yesterday. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is trading, right? This is buying low, selling high. It's not incredibly awesome percentage move of trade like I mentioned, but man, a second attempt there. I got an 11.13 as it was actually bouncing in the second minute here. Reclaimed a VWAP. Price continues to break above that open price, and we just get a nice little 4-minute continuation there, 5-minute continuation. Finds a little bit of a peak around 11.6, so I sell off. Just got to get a little bit quicker on that. I certainly thought this thing could go a lot higher, but just taking profits as they were there, sold off 2 shares into this little pullback, thinking, okay, I at least want to take off something for how well it's moved as of right now. But this was another thing I mentioned in my journal here too of, as we get this pullback to VWAP, which bounces pretty nicely, holds well, and if this started to climb back to, because this is where this bounce of a VWAP would have been where, and I was even telling myself of, okay, I would start accumulating shares here, like Monaco was kind of alluding to that he was doing with Sava yesterday. The same thing of this trend is still holding, it's a higher low, it can now be building, consolidating with volume, getting more attraction to it. Could be a nice setup for a further breakout on this. It's hard to say that it can continue to do this day after day. It had a very nice day yesterday on Thursday, but just playing the opportunities as they are there. So the dilemma of, okay, now am I playing this? I'm certainly playing it to how it should be played, of buy the dip, look for, I can identify the peak at least a little bit there. It's a little bit of a peak. I'm not saying that's the top of the day, but it actually ended up being that. But looking for consolidation now at this point, do I size in more than what was my initial position size? If I was trading with a full position size, not these 10 share little educational trade attempts, but of how do you go about this to deal with it, of do you believe that this stock is going to go higher, or are you trying to take safe money as it's there? Because then at this point you would say, well, then why would you be even taking off shares at this peak, right? Again, but just so many different scenarios that could go into that, and I'm certainly glad I took off at least some before it just ended up collapsing after putting in a lower high there and then dumped under VWAP. I had to take a massive poop, so I just put a stop in just a little bit under VWAP when I knew it would be dead. Ended up getting stopped out. And the most important point of what the trade should have been in that morning volatility, but great educational experience, and just another one of those kind of aha moments, and it was awesome that it just happened immediately after that day when I watched so closely, intently on that Sava trade that Monaco had, that it kind of mirrored it fairly similarly, and also mirrored it to what it was, a failed trade in the end. Great educational experience on that one. CYTO, man, this one, watching this one in pre, even before this huge insane run up, it gets to this point here where this is 10-15%-ish perk. Did it have news catalyst? Yeah, positive in vitro efficacy data for Bentrio nasal spray protecting against SARS-CoV-2 Delta variant. Decent news catalyst there, hitting some buzzwords. Float of 12.9 million, but again, sketchy American biotech. Love. But watching his price action, it's kind of wedging. It's just, I'm looking for a hard failure for this thing to maintain the price action at VWAP, where if I was trading it perfectly off of, if I was watching this chart from the get-go within this 1 minute, the sign to get short for me would have been at this hard rejection or reversal of VWAP as we get into this, as the gray line shows here, just an immediate V from immediate perk with huge volume coming in on the catalyst of the news to just dump of it from the overhead of shares that are potentially in on this one. Looking at the daily of this downtrodden daily chart that are now just going to pile in on any attempt to perk this thing up. The history of this chart is a huge one and done, or all of these huge, massive spikers that just end up failing on this one. And just didn't want to be a part of it because it wasn't the most appealing percentage move for me at this point, and it was just weird price action that I didn't want to be a part of. It was holding too long for me at VWAP there, and sure shooting. It gets a huge spike after that, continues to rip into the open. The first 3 minutes, again, huge ripping of faces. Continuing to just pound shorts and squeeze them out, looking for an easy trade. And I'm just kind of licking my chops at this point the whole time, thinking, awesome. I'm going to wait at least a half hour from market open to say, let the morning volatility play out. Let it do whatever it wants to do. We get a perk, pullback, another crazy perk. It just smacks the shorts, looking to short into that first perk there. I was thinking we're going to get another nice pullback here and then maybe attempt at another high of day here, maybe double top, maybe it perks just above, kind of wicks out a few more shorts and then kind of just fades off. And that was the style of trade that I was looking for, that I feel I've seen so many times, time and time again now on these big gap and crappers, that the trade for me I see is just post-morning session into lunch and just cutting for before afternoon craziness again. Pick up the scraps when everybody else has already gone, and then you are out before everybody comes back from lunch and wants to start gambling again in these. But it was just, as we got this hard break under VWAP here, I'm thinking, okay, shoot, do I think it's going to really break down hard? Continually from here, it already had a hard reject with big volume there, and then it recovered quickly after that, back to this little range, 2.9 to 3.1. Kind of wicking here, huge dump here on this one candle that's a 10% candle, and then immediately recovers after that. And it's just after that point of going, okay, do I really want to be in this one short on a huge position size when I haven't taken, and meaning like 1,000 share position size on the sticker, when I haven't been close to that position size in a long time? Do I want to just go all in, start on this crazy volatile mover because I think I can pick a top and play the probability on this trade? And I said, I'll just watch it. It's just holding it, and oh my gosh, just watching these next candles after that, who frickin' knows what way it goes? Just so, gross of how it was holding and consolidating and getting bought up here. So you're thinking, I even thought as a long here, I'm taking 20 shares as a long, thinking, man, if this thing holds up and starts to press to a new high of day, it could just go absolutely bonkers, insane parabolic into the close. It's a Friday. Sketchy American biotech, low floater, not really a lot else for people to get attracted to. if this thing holds into the afternoon session, it could just go absolutely berserk. So that was my conviction of it. 20 shares. That ended up being 10 shares to start with here as it was holding, getting continually bought up there. And then you get a pullback, and I'm expecting the same thing for a quick recovery by another 10 shares there. And it pretends to have the legs. It's not breaking a low of day. It fakes out here for just a little wick that I did have a stop at like 262, I think perfectly. Wicks out those longs that were trying to play the same thing, risking that obvious little low there point, and pretends to start to curl back to VWAP again, and then just ends up fading. Just so much trickery, debauchery, and just bang your head against a wall type of price action and games you have to play with these types of tickers. But man, that was a nice downtrend. Full downtrend into the afternoon session and really into the close. A little recovery, you could say, into the close, but not much to that effect. But just tough. And even to say, too, of, as I'm watching this perk here with big volume, looking at the volume candles themselves and evaluating that as a metric for, okay, are we exhaustive at this point here, and could we see a little bit of a pullback? So to say, after this candle, we get a second candle here that puts in not even really close to what it was doing within the first few minutes of market open, or even more drastically less than what that immediate candle was. We can say, okay, if it acquires enough volume to push to a new high of day and get more volume than that, bravo, hats off to you. You can take my money at that point. You can get me stopped out. But then if it was a little bit later than I'm relating to, but then at this point here of saying, okay, well, I wasn't even thinking coulda, woulda, shoulda been short because it was just still so early. This thing could have easily recovered and then continued to spike to a new high, or just messed around with a new double top. And that's what I was looking to avoid and wait away from. Let everybody else play with that and play in their emotions and do that. But then you can look back and say, man, that was a nice little short trade right there. A perfect little block for getting anywhere around 3.2, trading it down to 2.7. Awesome percentage move that is. But just absolutely so volatile, so choppy. I wrote 8 to 8.10 here. Yeah, this huge volume candle, that was a 10% plus candle. You can see how it's just such mind games, as easy shorts would obviously risk a relative top here at this 310, where it's been top ticked 3 times now. This candle just barely tops above that, collects those few little longs that are maybe trying to play off that, collects the stops of the shorts that are looking to avoid getting absolute massive slippage if this thing just starts to build and goes to a new high of day, and then just immediately drops after that. So I will stay away. Thank you very much. Great educational watch of it. And the little educational play of it, that for the long side, if it does go parabolic, the risk reward on that one is absolutely insane. And again, another one that I did have to go away from the computer screen for a little bit. But man, that is trading. It's certainly exciting every single day. No hard scans for me on the watches right now. We got family coming in, so we're going to take it pretty easy for the weekend. We're going to continue to hammer the next week hard. Whatever is allowed to us from this market, we have to adapt and learn. And man, these crazy boys can just pop through the cracks. These weeds can just wither their way out of this cement when it feels like it's just a little slow, or something's working this way and you're feeling like you understand the trend. These ones just come out of the woodworks randomly sometimes. Glad to be a part of it. It's adaptation or die for sure. So with that being said, I sincerely thank you guys for watching. We will catch you guys next time.